for Education, every time we do an engagement on with businesses or we talk about the project, we can track our engagement through a QR code. So if you've got your phones to hand, if you can just scan that QR code, and there's just a little form, and it just helps us track who we've spoken to about the project, what types of people we're speaking to about the project, because at the end of every month I do a report to the Department for Education all about who we've interacted with, how we've interacted, what kind of businesses we've spoken to, what kind of networks we've spoken to, what kind of events and meetings we've attended to talk about the project. So this QR code is just a really simple way of us gathering that information. So if you've got your phone on you, you want to scan that QR code now, or you'll get the slides after, that's fine. So I guess the why is it important to talk about engaging with businesses around their apprenticeship and skills needs. So I've been involved in lots of research recently with different kind of employer groups or networks or foundations to look at recruitment and skills development and apprenticeships, and the research from all kinds of platforms suggests that employers, particularly small employers, are struggling to recruit and retain staff, and are struggling to recruit people with the right skills to do the right job, or they've got the people but they're struggling to release people for time off for training because it's impacting their productivity or their profit or their sales. We're seeing from larger organisation there is an appetite for skills development programmes and apprenticeships, but that's from employers that are already engaged in apprenticeships. We need a lot more businesses that aren't engaged to use apprenticeships as being a real driver to support their business growth, their kind of future, their future proofing, productivity, local economic improvement. And what we're seeing is apprenticeship starts have declined. So the Department for Education funding that we've been given has only been allocated to the local authority districts in the north of England that have had the biggest decline in apprenticeship starts. So the funding was only issued to northern local authority areas. So Bradford is one, Kirklees, Wakefield, Leeds, Rotherham, Doncaster, Barnsley, and Sheffield. Because they have been hit with the biggest decline of apprenticeship starts. And when the research has been developed, there are very few organisations that are actually planning staff development over the next 12 months, with 54% of micro businesses saying they have no plans for staff development or staff training at all. And as I've said, it's the northern local authorities that have been affected the most post-pandemic in terms of staff retention, staff training and apprenticeship starts. So it's kind of another example of why in the north we need some specific support and funding to ensure that greater take-up, greater inclusion, greater promotion of the offer. We know that 9 in 10 workers are going to need to update their skills, particularly around digital and green. And we also know that our current skills gap locally is in digital, and that gap is set to deepen as the demand is outstripping the supply. And currently across SMEs, there's an £85 billion productivity gap due to the lack of skills in the ever-growing digitisation approaches and kind of data management and data analysis skills. So there's huge opportunity, but there's also huge risk if we don't look at skills development, CPD and apprenticeships as part of our workforce. And also 80% of the 2030 workforce are currently in work. So it's not just about future talent pipeline and future young people, but it's about the here and now, and the need for upskilling and reskilling is really imperative. And actually there's a lot of discussions and a lot of myths around apprenticeships are just for young people and they're just for the trades. But actually, there's a growing number of adults using apprenticeships to reskill or retrain. And also you can do apprenticeships into degrees. You can do it in all kinds of disciplines. What we also know is that people that have neurodiversity are underemployed because employers aren't confident in their support system or their knowledge to move them up to skill sets. And we also know that there's a reduced number of employed people and apprentices from the lowest socioeconomic backgrounds that are engaged in skills training and apprenticeships. So the why is really, really important. What we want to use our engagements for is to unlock local talent, identify where local talent is, go into the communities, go into those places that are normally mixed in terms of engagement, unlock that talent, and then match the right person, support them with the right skills development for the right jobs in our local area and across the districts. So what we want to do through the Yorkshire Apprenticeship Service and through this funding is to showcase apprenticeships across the region, showcase the local providers offering it, do some demystifying and myth busting around what apprenticeships are and are not. They are brilliant quality, brilliant benefits, and real kind of huge improvements to businesses that do offer apprenticeships. I've been offering apprenticeships in my small business for the past 15 years, and every single one of them have come in and looked at process or procedure or social media or marketing in a completely different way and made an improvement to the business. We also want to be gathering local intelligence around what are the barriers, what are the blockages, what are the challenges, but also come together for some of the solutions, particularly the solutions around greater inclusion, greater understanding of the offer, and greater language and terminology used when recruiting for an apprentice, and really kind of ripping up the rule book, I guess, with the old way of recruiting apprentices and old way of recruiting employees in general with that kind of heavily masculine, not inclusive language. So trying to strip that back and find local solutions. And then through the funding, we can also act as a mentor for the businesses, do lots of hand holding, show them how to access the digital account where everything is run through, and also for smaller businesses or kind of startups that it might be the first time they've ever employed a young person or ever acted as a line manager, so we can do some mentoring skills and some coaching skills as part of the project. The Department of Education have encouraged us to look at the growth sectors. So we are focusing on engaging with businesses from engineering, manufacturing, construction and adult social care. But we also have a remit to promote and showcase and highlight digital apprenticeships, and that can be to any business, whether they're a well-established business, a new startup, an entrepreneur. So how digital apprenticeships, and there is a plethora of digital apprenticeships out there, from kind of coding and programming to software engineers to digital marketers. So they're the kind of areas that we're looking at. There are sectors that we're targeting, and then we're also going out and speaking to businesses about all things digital and how apprentices can really aid businesses' digitisation strategy. We also are working with partners to offer an employer referral. So we really want to encourage businesses to look at apprenticeships for their supply chains. So it's not just about one business taking one apprentice, but how can we look at supply chains? How can we look at getting this information referred out to a much wider audience? So if businesses are working with other businesses, if there's businesses that are really, or entities that are really great at community engagement, or really good at focusing on particular themes, then we really want to work with people to make sure that the supply chains and those referral pathways are available for the project. So some of the support that we want to do through the Yorkshire Apprenticeship Service and through this particular project, and some of the things that we're going to be doing in the districts, whether it's with the local authorities or with some of the community outreach organisations, or whether we're going to be putting on some activities. But what we really want to do is work with local businesses, local people, local communities to showcase apprenticeship standards, to talk about the local providers and the good quality provision that's available, really unpick those rules and do some myth busting. Supporting businesses around accessing funding, supporting them with their recruitment needs, and like I said, ripping up that rule book around language and terminology and how we maybe phrase some of the jobs. Young people particularly are saying, well, apprenticeship vacancies don't sound that attractive or accessible. I think we're still a bit old school in the way that we write and the language that we use around trying to attract young people into our businesses. And to provide some upskilling for the businesses, whether that's with leadership and management, or mentoring, or coaching, or any other kind of support that they need. There's a digital account that everything has to run through now, with regards to accessing the funding and approving all the funding. So we've got loads of support with that, lots and lots of hand holding with that. That is one of the biggest struggles that small businesses are finding, is the digital account. So we've got a plethora of support around that. We've also got a lot of support around identifying local incentives or support for businesses. So understanding, if you take on a 16 to 18-year-old, you don't need to pay a co-investment. If you take on an apprentice and they're under 25, you don't need to pay national insurance contributions. If you're a small business, we can attract levy funding for you as part of the levy transfer service. And there's a plethora of other support out there for businesses, to whether it's grants to work in construction, or whether it's support for employing an apprentice. So we've got a whole kind of support mechanism around that. I've talked about supporting recruitment needs. We will help with writing job specs and person specs and the actual advert to make sure that we are using really inclusive language and we make these vacancies sound attractive and accessible. We're promoting opportunities for greater inclusion. So we want to go into the communities. We want to find businesses from those communities. We want to find people from those communities. It's National Neurodiversity Week, so we're really doing lots to support those that are underemployed at the moment with neurodiversity needs, to help them move up and reskill and kind of gain the employment that they and the skills that they should. We want to work with the communities, with disadvantaged areas, with those from the lowest socioeconomic backgrounds, to really showcase apprenticeships as a ladder to progression and as a ladder to employment. And actually, for anyone, that apprenticeships are a real career opportunity. And also, people that have completed an apprenticeship will earn more in their lifetime to people that from their peers that went to university. So that even just showcasing that is a great opportunity. And then we've got local case studies and local success stories from within our communities, from our local businesses, to try and help showcase how great apprenticeships are, and to get more businesses to take them on, and to look at greater ways of inclusive recruitment practices. So we've got our website that you can visit us at, our Yorkshire Apprenticeship Service website. I've got a couple of members of my team that are doing business engagement and doing all of the mentoring and the support. So you can contact Megan or Jay directly. We've also got some specialist partners in particular niche areas of those growth sectors that we're working in. So we've got somebody that specialises in roofing, somebody in rail, somebody in thermal installation, somebody in renewables. So we can get into those kind of niche areas as well as the more kind of generic parts of the sectors. And you can also come to me. My email address is there as well. I think that's everything I wanted to share today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. Hello, everyone. I'm sincerely apologetic for the delay in me getting on. But Alex, that was great. Just the provision and the support that is out there for local businesses is much needed. There's a lot of misconceptions, and I think, the service that you're able to provide, the support that you're able to provide, is obviously able to showcase that actually, it's not impossible, especially for SMEs or those who may be self-employed as well. I think someone had a question. If I can just go to Stella had a question saying, are you only supporting these businesses in growth sectors now?
So the funding is just to support businesses in growth sectors. However, we will engage with any business, because what we can do is refer to other support areas. So the Combined Authority have got growth hubs, or Bradford have got the Skills House, or CITB. Well, that's construction, so that's not relevant. But so we will speak to any business and understand need. We also, because we look after all the training providers, and we also have a dedicated apprenticeship directory, we can help refer to training providers to help with some of those areas that we can't support. So in terms of the funding, we can only support those sectors. But in terms of having those conversations and being able to refer on, we can absolutely support any business. Was there another question?
There is. Susan's put down, are you going to look at promoting supported apprenticeships for those who have learning difficulties?
Yeah, so supported internships are for those. So yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we want to promote opportunities for all and for all inclusion. I think the issue with supported apprenticeships and supported internships at the moment is it's predominantly public sector that have taken them on. So they predominantly work in public service, the health service, local authorities. There's not a ton of SMEs that can support the supported internship approach, but that's absolutely what we're talking to businesses about, whether they can look at their inclusion strategy. We've done some work with MenCap before around supporting businesses to take on people with learning difficulties and disabilities, and like, as I've already mentioned, those with kind of neurodiverse needs. So it's absolutely part of the conversation. And again, MenCap have got some support, so we can link in there where businesses are up for that. But at the moment, the vast majority of supported internships are within the public sector entities, and we can only support small businesses. But it's definitely part of the conversation. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Alex. Does anyone else have any other questions? Anything they might want to say? Any comments? No? As I said, Alex, it was just great to understand, the service that you're able to provide. Just to ask, are there any good news stories that you're able to kind of share out so we can, whilst promoting yourselves, we can push that forward as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the project's only been running since December, but we've got on our Yorkshire Apprenticeship Service, we've got lots of kind of success stories, case studies of apprenticeships generally. We also work with the Yorkshire Apprenticeship Ambassador Network, and they've got loads of kind of successes and case studies. So yeah, we will start gathering those and sharing them through the project. But if you want some in the interim, we've got plenty that we can share.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Alex. Thank you for coming on.
Worries.
We've got Urfan now as well from the university, and you're going to be sharing some details about some summer internship opportunities, Urfan.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kirsty. I didn't want to hijack your meeting, but you weren't here, so me and Alex just decided we're just going to take over.
I'm glad you did.
Thank you very much. Alex, it's nice to meet you. I used to work with Linda Beaver. She used to be my boss, so if you see her, say hello from myself. So okay, so I've just got a couple of slides to share. My name's Urfan Faqir. I work here at the University of Bradford. I'm a business and community engagement consultant. A lot of the work that I do is based around supporting businesses in recruiting graduate talent, and that can be anything to do with placements. So that's 1-year placements, internships, which is summer internships, work-based learning placements. So we have students who, as a part of their course, they're required to complete a number of weeks work experience or placement. So for example, I'm currently working with the Faculty of Management and Law and Social Sciences and their criminology course. They currently are looking for 11-week placement opportunities for their final year students at the moment. So if there's any opportunities for students out there who, where you've got a space in your business where you could help a student, then by all means you can get in touch with myself, or I'll put an email address in the chat. So at this moment in time, I'm working on a project called the Summer Internship Program. I'm trying to get my slides while I'm talking at the same time, and it's not working. It's not working. Just give me a second. Can you see my slides?
You can just see your screen.
No, there's no slides at the moment. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share the slides in the chat, because I don't know why that's not working. Been having a couple of problems on Teams anyway, so it could just be that. So I'm running. Yes.
Sorry, Irfan, do you want to send it to me? I can share it from mine.
Oh,
I can try.
Oh yeah, can you do that? That would be great.
Yeah, while you're talking, if you send it to me,
That's fine.
and I'll see if I can share it for you.
It's only a couple of slides. I like talking rather than showing slides. So it's called the Summer Internship Program, and we usually send out around about 50 to 60 students a year on summer internships, and these are first and second year students who are home and international students. This is open to, so these are first and second year undergraduate students. These opportunities are open for. We normally have sort of 50 to 60 employers on opportunities available. What we normally do is we go out and see an employer. We'll talk about how this works. It's 6-week internships starting from sort of the end of May, completed by the end of sort of July time. Can go on for longer. It just depends on the funding that's available. So if you're a charity organisation, I've currently got 10 places available for funding, places available for charities. So we'll pay a student to go and complete a project within a charity organisation for 6 weeks. For a SME business, will fund it up to 50%. So that's £1,200, just over £1,200 for a 6-week intern. And large organisations, it's not funded; it's fully paid. So everything we look after, we'll look after the payroll. We'll help you with the recruitment. We'll help with promoting the opportunity. We'll try and recruit the students. We'll visit the student whilst they're on their placement, just to make sure everything's going fine. And once the placement is over, we ask you to provide either a case study or a nomination for an award, and the award ceremonies take place in September at the university on campus. We've had a lot of students go out and do a number of good work experience. So last year we had students at Morrison's, an accounting and finance student found £1 million missing from one of the accounts, and they managed to find that money. Otherwise they would have been in a lot of trouble, missing £1 million. We've had students go out and work in organisations such as Centrepoint, working with homeless young people. We've had students do projects on campus, looking at dementia work, and also research on polymer chemical engineering. So if you contact us, we'll come out and see you, and we'll discuss how the project works, or how the student can get work experience. We'll go through the whole process with you, and we'll make sure that everything runs smoothly. You don't have to do anything about the payroll. The only thing we do is we invoice you at the beginning of the internship. We've got other opportunities that are available as well coming up. That'll be towards the end of the year, starting in the new year. Will be research projects for students who are looking at going into research PhD internships. So if you're interested in doing research, we're also interested in talking to employers about research as well. If anybody's got any questions, I'll put my email in the chat, or you can just ask it in the chat, and I'm happy to answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Irfan. I was going to say to both yourself and Alex, if you're okay with us having your slides, we can happily share them out as well, just so people have that information noted down. I wanted to ask actually for this year, how many students do you currently have, or how many places do you still have available, and how many employers as well do you have on board?
I've not even started yet, Curti. This is my first time. I am running another program as well, which is a research program, and we've got for that one we've got about 7 or 8 employers currently on board for that one. This one I'm probably looking around. Well, I'm looking for 50 internships altogether. So an employer can take 2 at once. So it just depends on how big the employers are. But I'm looking for 10 charity placements. 10 charity placements, and probably around 40 small business internships.
Yeah.
And we'll part fund those as well. So
I think if there's a blurb or something that you can send across, and we'll make sure we distribute it out to the business list.
Yeah, I'm just putting that in the chat right now.
That's great. Thank you. On the back of that, which was not on the agenda, it's come later on since sending out the invite for this meeting, and the agenda is at Skills House, we've been provided with some funding from the DFE for supported interns. So for supported internships, it's 3-year funding, which goes up until 2025. So we've come through towards the end of the first year. With this, it's about doubling the provision of supported internship placements that are available across the district, and we're hoping to have employers to come on board, have learning providers, and those interested in the programme to come on board and join us. So we've got a launch event for the forum happening online on the 27th, which happens to be Supported Internship Day as well. And we will be sending an invite out for that as well, and more details. So I guess, yeah, we'd be working across similar or same organisations which would be interested, in definitely about sharing the opportunity for yourself as well, Urfan, would be great. So yeah, we'll make sure we distribute that out.
Are you looking for employers for these internships?
So
or do you have internships in the business?
We'd be looking for employers who would be interested in supported internships. So these are young people with SEND needs specifically, yeah. Does anyone have any questions?
Who do we need? Do we just speak to yourself or somebody else? Are you going to send the details out?
Yeah, well, I'll send the details out. I'll send the invite out. So it would be myself. We also have Matt Findle from Skills House, the council, and also someone else called Josh Wadsworth, who is working on this. But if you direct any questions, any queries through me, that would be fine as well. I think we've got some questions. Can that information be shared with everyone on this course? So I can have a few businesses that would be interested. Yeah, definitely. Dawn and Isabel, with the supported interns, are they in particular? Nothing particular at all. It could be any sector. Could be any sector. So it's more about just ensuring that young people coming through who might be on a EHCP plan have placements available. Matt, I can see you're on. So Matt, if you have anything to add as well, please feel free to do so.
No, it's fine. Sorry, I wasn't meaning to distract you. I was just putting my email in the chat for reference. That was all. Sorry.
That's okay, Matt. If there is anything you'd like to add, not a problem. Dawn, supported internship. Thank you, Susan. Is this initiative open for anyone providing supported internship provision to access? Yes, it is. Yeah.
And how are you providing the young people? Do you have people on your books that have got needs?
It would be through any means. So whether it's through the colleges, whether it's through clients that have come through us. So there isn't kind of a particular limit as to where they come from, or, you know, provider or organisation. Does anyone else have any questions?
I think we'll wait for you to send the details. That's okay.
Oh, so what I'll do is send it as an invite. Sorry, I'll send it as an invite. Yeah, and then on the actual forum launch, we'll have more information as well with regards to what's available.
Just on supported internships, there are some restrictions on sectors, because some DBS and some safeguarding restrictions are for supported internships. So it's not every sector that can support them, just because of the safeguarding restrictions, but it is most. I inspect supported internship provision, so as part of Ofsted.
You would be then, Alex, great to have on board, and your experience, your background would be great then as well to find out more with regards to this. Does anyone have any other questions for either Alex or Urfan as well? I think that's a really early finish. I'm just going to